The Mexican Soccer Show. It's Monday Night Football. I'm here with Mr. Tom Marshall, who has visited us here at the Mexican Soccer Show in Phoenix. I'm Wiso from FootMex Nation. This is an hour-long podcast dedicated to all things Mexican football, Mexican soccer right now, the Gold Cup, and everything that we talk about here at the Mexican Soccer Show. A little different today, since Tom is visiting here in Phoenix for the Gold Cup. We decided, let's just do a live Mexican Soccer Show from Tom's suite. As you saw that quick preview, we are on the top floor, penthouse. You don't even know it's on this side right here. We have a pool. We have a pool. So anybody in Phoenix, come to the penthouse here at this at this hotel.
It sounds so glamorous.
It's glamorous. I mean, it's the Mexico World Cup, and he's joining us. But in all realness, thank you for joining us. Well, a little different show today. Obviously, we're here together, so we're going to answer lots of your questions. Tom's got his laptop down here. He's looking to see who's on, and therefore we will be looking to see questions, critiques, and it's kind of more of a live, kind of interaction with you guys. But that's how we have a show. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of months.
Yeah, I mean, you've been flying from Guadalajara to Russia, all over Russia. Now you're in the U.S.
Yeah.
You're going to be here for at least another 2 weeks, and then you got vacations.
At least another 4 days.
Well, at least another 4 days.
Because you never know, do you? With the way Mexico playing.
Definitely.
The way Mexico playing, you never know, do you?
Especially with how, Mexico is playing. But we'll talk all about the games, the past 3 games, touch a little bit on the Curaçao game, Tom, especially since you were there. And then go into what's going on in the future. We'll go into a lot of people have questions. Can this team really win? We'll give our honest answers. And then take your questions on whatever subject there is. Granted that
within reason.
Yeah, within reason. Keep it football related. We'll be honest if we can't answer for whatever reason. I know Tom's been flying around a lot, and I might have missed a few games here or there. I was watching Game of Thrones last night, so I didn't get to watch the matches. I did get to watch the Chivas Tigres match, so I can definitely talk about that. But then Mexico was on. There's just a lot of football going on yesterday with Mexico. It doesn't end.
No, it doesn't. I think it's the 14 games now. Is it 14 games in like 50 days, something like that, more or less?
No one else in the world.
No one else in the world.
And we say that with no one else in the world plays so many games.
No, it's Mexico's just. I don't know.
But even let's be honest. I mean, even take the friendlies out. The 2 friendlies that are in there, Confederations Cup and Gold Cup. This Gold Cup that's every 2 years.
Yeah.
That well, I mean, we can even get into that too on it. But let's jump right in. Who's on the chat already?
Jay Corona saying, "What's up, guys? Watching from Costa Rica."
Oh, Costa Rica.
Pura vida.
Mai. Yeah, they say Mai. 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 If you're in Costa Rica. Cool. Who else is on?
Amy's on there. Juan Velasquez. There we go. But yeah, so first up, you tell me what do you think of Mexico so far, the Gold Cup? Honest opinion.
Honest opinion, it was what expected. I mean, I'm looking at a team where I wasn't expecting a ton. Mexico, when they take their B squads, the last one with Chepo lost the first game against Panama. It looks like these alternative squads never do well as much as we want them to do. But
I mean, what you said there is like, I don't know. I feel like in the press in Mexico, and especially a lot of the fans online, everybody's not happy. You know what I mean?
It's not that I'm upset with the Mexican team. I know this is exactly how I thought it would be. They would struggle against physical teams because I feel like Osorio's wanting to do something.
Yeah.
That they haven't had that much time to do.
Yeah. No.
And therefore, they're not performing in the way that. I mean, I've seen players do just dumb fundamental mistakes because I don't know if they're concentrating too much on what Osorio wants them to do. But I'm not too surprised that we are at the stage, even though we did give first in the group.
Yeah. No, I think it's interesting actually. So if you go back 2 years to the Gold Cup 2015, and I don't know, it's almost like you forget. It's almost like that whole Gold Cup was overshadowed by
Piojos. Yeah.
Punching Martinoli.
I think I even said that second game reminded me of the second game here in Phoenix against Trinidad. That 4
Guatemala.
Yeah. Oh, was it Guatemala? Was it?
The 0-0.
The 0-0. And then I think they played in Trinidad.
They played Trinidad,
which was 4-4.
Yeah.
I mean, that Gold Cup with the Europeos, with a Piojo that everybody was, exalting and making sure that he's the guy, it was getting the same result.
Yeah. If you go through that 2015 Gold Cup, 6-0 Cuba. A Cuba team, they weren't even a full squad because they didn't arrive. The absolute shambles, the Cuban team. Especially the first game. And then you had the 0-0 against Guatemala, who's not even here this time. Trinidad
Historic
and Tobago,
for Guatemala, by the way.
Yeah. Trinidad and Tobago 4-4. Mexico finished second in the group, in a pretty weak group.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that, and they had Vela, Giovanni, Jonathan Dos Santos. They had Ochoa, Guardado. I mean, and you look at this squad now, and for me, it's like it's way behind that. For me, there's only really a handful of players in this squad that are going to be that can even get to the World Cup.
Yeah.
Like I think probably if you say 8, that's probably quite a lot. I think a maximum of 8 can come from this squad to the World Cup. And I think you can name them.
Elias, Orbelin.
Yeah, Jesus
Dueñas.
Maybe one of the goalkeepers.
Corona, which has been the best player for Mexico. Really quick backtrack. What team has been doing great in this first 3 games? And I know that everyone always thinks that we're making excuses for Osorio. But I feel like the players, the team, they're coming into this tournament where everyone pretty much makes it to the next round except for 4 teams, right? There's 2 third-place games. El Salvador is making it to the next round, So I feel like, are they really going to give 100% in the first round? They know they're going to make it to the next rounds. And we always see that round play where the weaker teams always do better in the Gold Cup because, let's face it, Mexico has not dominated in a Gold Cup. I can't even remember the last time it was just a breeze the first 3 games. It's always been this way. And I think the players know that they don't have to play 100%. And, they're going to make it to the next game. And luckily, Mexico is in a position where they're probably going to make it to the final. I mean, I think there could be some hiccups here or there, but the competition, it's only Jamaica if they're able to go to the final, the semifinal. And they got Honduras, who hasn't scored any goals.
Yeah.
So the U.S. has Costa Rica, has Panama on the other side. So, no, I'm not happy with the result, but at the same time, I think it was expected. I didn't expect these guys to dominate left and right. That being said,
I mean, I think if it was a full Mexican first team, then you would.
Of course. Of course.
I mean, and I think that puts in perspective 2 years ago how bad Mexico were.
Yeah.
I mean,
people were calling for Piojo's head. If you remember, it wasn't the Martinelli thing. It was already some Piojo's got to leave. It was a horrible, and we were able to get that win with that Panama and the Costa Rica game.
No era penales. Extremely lucky. They only played the first good game of the tournament against Jamaica in the final.
Remember, Guardado had to do. They went to penales at the end.
Yeah.
In order for us to get to the final.
2 against Panama and 1 against Costa Rica. Exactly. I mean, they didn't score a goal in the quarterfinal or semi-final. But yeah, I think I don't know. I think it's interesting to. I mean, on my Twitter, everybody's just going crazy against Osorio.
Does it really affect them? And here it's going to go. This is Mexico with an alternate squad without their coach being on the field. Now, here's to all of you guys that were saying, "Thank God Osorio's not going to be there." Finally we're going to get a team without the rotaciones. You're still saying the same thing, which I might add, everyone in CONCACAF in the Gold Cup did rotations. Everybody from the U.S. to Panama to Costa Rica, they're changing 8 to 10 players.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing that, but I think it does affect them. Osorio not being on the field. So you really expect. I just set the bar low for Mexico, just because bringing in a squad that hasn't played together, and it's not like obviously the changing of formation, players being put in places where they normally don't play, which we've seen that anyways. But it's definitely some there's grounds to critique, I feel, on the players themselves too.
Yeah, we've got a question here. MV23, are players partly to blame?
Yeah. It's
fair to criticize Osorio's tactics, but when players can't properly head a ball 5 yards outside the box, then it's on them too. Definitely.
Yeah. I've seen these. I mean, we went on the show and we said Hector Moreno in the Confederations Cup didn't have the greatest game. What was that game against? Where he was against Germany, right? And we said that was a bad display. I think we can do that same thing here. I'm seeing these guys elementary mistakes, like the ball's going off. They can't even stop it with their feet. And again, I don't know if that's concentration, knowing that, hey, we're already going to be in the next round. Why really play 100%?
I don't think so. No way. I don't think players.
I don't see that 100%. Like, I just see him.
I think it's because it's difficult. It's difficult when you play these teams that are talent-wise a lot less than you, and especially with the Jamaica game, and they just sit back. It's very, very difficult to.
You saw frustrated Mexico.
Yeah, they were definitely frustrated. I thought they lacked ideas. They lacked cohesion, and that goes back to, people say the rotations, and to a degree, yeah. I mean, I think the rotations do impact, because I think the rotation system, it works when you've got a long time working with the players, and the players know.
So why do it when you don't have a long time playing with the players?
Because he's playing the long game. He's not playing for this Gold Cup. This is a low priority tournament for Mexico. It's not very important.
Do you think that's where the priorities aren't there? Where there are set priorities where, you set up, you got to be semifinals of the goal and at least get to the finals. Well, what was the?
I think it was the final. To get to the final.
But
Osorio kept going, represent Mexico in a dignified way. That was what he's always said.
What's a dignified way? You got it.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I just think that this competition honestly isn't. For me, it's more important that 3 or 4 players step up and show that they're ready to compete with the first team players. When I say that, I mean compete with, Andres Guardado, Jonathan Dos Santos, Chicharito. I know that sounds like it's a high
Elias Hernandez.
High ask, but I mean I think that's more getting that outside from this tournament is more important than lifting the Gold Cup. Because at the end of the day, if you look at Mexico's depth chart, this is like number 23 to 46.
Yeah,
this is like this is another point as well. If you were Mexico right now ranked number 16 in the world, this squad, i.e. numbers 23 to 46, where would you rank them? I think it'd be
30s, 40s.
I think, I agree. I think 30s, 40s, and then you put them against these Jamaica, El Salvador, Curacao. You expect them to win, but you don't expect them to be winning 4-5-0. You know what I mean? I think that's the perspective you got to give this Gold Cup. But it's not been pretty. I mean, I've been disappointed with the Mexican performance. I thought they'd have, especially the young talent. I thought they'd have enough to overrun some of these teams more than they have done.
How any players that you think are underperforming?
I wanted to see more from Pizarro in the second game.
Mm-hmm.
I think he came off at half time, and I thought because he was playing so badly. I mean, that's not good, because I think he's a player who could have a big future with the national team. Apart from that, who else? I didn't think Montes was very good against Curacao.
No.
I thought he looked nervous, which was disappointing. Eric Gutierrez was okay, but I don't know. He just doesn't seem to be comfortable at national team level yet. I'm not sure.
Players that have played players that have played with Mexico before look confident. Players that have that had already some games in their belt. I think if let's look at Chuy Corona.
Yeah,
has had. I mean, you look at that. Elias Hernandez, which is playing well. The experience, I think, plays a big role when they're coming into the national team, regardless if you're facing. And I know a lot of people are, well, it's Curacao. Where's Curacao in the game? Curaçao's not. They're not amateur players. I mean, they've got some players that have played in leagues and they're tough. We always struggle against them.
Most of them play Nolan.
Yeah, so it's not like this is your amateur player. The mailman that's playing. Yeah. Again, they're not excuses that we're giving them, but we're just justifying that we shouldn't be asking these guys to completely run over this guy, because it hasn't been done before with any Mexico team. Again, name the last time Mexico walked through the stages of the Gold Cup. It hasn't happened in a very long time. But let's look ahead. In the 3 games, what do you say is, what Mexico needs to work on? If you've seen it in that football outlook of the game, we can definitely see Osorio's hand. But what does Mexico need to do coming up here? It gets interesting now. Now it's away from the group stages.
Well, now you can't mess up.
Yeah,
this is the stage now where you can't be messing up. But I honestly think Osorio's used 21 out of the 23 players, and I think Pompilio País was saying after the last game that now they've seen all the players, they know which players they're going to use. But it goes back to the same point. This is an experimental competition with an experimental squad. It's not. Oh, let's win the Gold Cup and show that we're the best in CONCACAF. I mean, that doesn't. I think to Osorio and the group that means absolutely nothing. To be honest, I mean that's why he's brought in, not to win the Gold Cup, but to kind of elevate Mexico to the next level on the world stage.
Are fans ready to hear that though?
No, fans don't want to hear that.
They don't want to feel that. By the way, we're not here to win this World Cup. We're here to give experience to the players for 2018.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially when you've got 50, an average of what, 48,000.
Yeah, 43,000 that are going to games.
I think it's 48 average over the 3 games so far. And fans who are paying $50, $60, $70 a ticket don't want to hear that. They want to go and see a team that's going to score 3-4 goals, with the kids and the family. But I mean, that's not Osorio's fault. You know what I mean? That's not his fault. And yeah, I don't know. That's just the way I see this competition. It's like I find it more exciting because you're seeing the next generation and you're judging the next generation and you're seeing what they've got. And so far, I've been disappointed. Like I said, Pineda's been quite good, but I wanted to see a little bit more, to be quite honest, because I think he's that talented.
I just feel like these guys, they're not giving 100% because they know they're in the next round. I see just bad. Like I said, bad fundamental elementary mistakes from these guys. I'm like, are you playing in Liga MX? Aurelien Pineda, what he is doing, I haven't seen that level of play. I don't know. Could it be because the Liga MX ended? This is kind of preseason for them, even though they kept in that, they were in the concentration with Mexico.
I think they've been there enough now. I think that they should be fit. I don't think that's an excuse. And I think the other teams are in the same position as well, because the European season finished in May, so they've had to kind of do a mini preseason.
The US has been, because of the MLS is going through.
Yeah, the US is the only one, and it's probably Jamaica because half of their team play in the States as well.
Any other questions that you see on there?
We've got questions. We've got a few. When is the show going to start? It says HBK forever. What a joker.
It started already, guys.
J Corona, rotating is fine if it's the same style and players in the natural position, but rotating and out of position, players aren't familiar with what's going on. Yeah, it's actually interesting. There's a book by Michael Cox called The Mixer, which I'm reading at the minute. And there's throughout the last 20 years of the game, there are a lot of examples of players switching position. But the main one's Makelele. Most people remember him as a holding midfielder for Real Madrid and in the Galacticos team with Zidane and all those. It was Makelele who kind of pinned the team together. Makelele started as a winger. He was a fast winger, and he gradually moved back into that position. So, I mean...
These are clubs, though.
This is clubs. And
this hasn't been done before with what Osorio is doing.
Not with Mexico, no, but
other national teams.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an example at the top of my head, but I mean, I don't think that. I mean, Edson Alvarez, there was a big thing. Edson Alvarez is playing right back. He played right back for America. He played right wing back under La Volpe. So it's like it's not completely alien to him. And if you look at it, Edson Alvarez was in the squad in Russia, and what do you think Osorio was doing in Russia? He was prepping Edson Alvarez to potentially play right back. I mean, Osorio knows what he's doing with these kind of things, but. Anyway, what have we got here? Another couple of questions. Let's have a look. Marquez was needed more on this team than in the Confederations. I could agree with that, no?
What was the question?
Rafa Marquez was needed more on this team than the Confederations.
I still don't understand why they brought Marquez to the Confederations Cup for the leadership that's there, for the 20 minutes that he played. Yeah. Interesting enough, we kept hearing that Mexico was not bringing or not calling up any players in that 40 roster. And what Tom's telling me is that there's still not a definite decision that Mexico, unless right now, which Tom will probably look at to see if there's anything new from CONCACAF, there was an email that was sent out to the media saying all of the players that the U.S. called, all the players that Costa Rica called, I think Honduras has 2 or 3 players. But Mexico wasn't on there. I took that as Mexico's not having any players come up, for this next round, which, let's just stop there. What other tournament can you bring in
nice
players in the middle of the tournament? And for what reason? That just goes to show you I can't even, I'm not going to go and say that this is a horrible tournament, but at the same time, there's no other tournament that you can bring players, but whatever. Okay. We are looking to see, and I guess there could be a possibility that Mexico could call up some players.
Yeah.
Tom's sneaking in a beer drink over there. I'm just going to tell you that right now.
There's I mean, Leon Lacanda from ESPN. I think he was with Osorio basically.
Yeah.
In the hotel. I was there when the team came in, and I think Leon had an interview, if I'm not mistaken, with Osorio. It's not out yet, but he's obviously got the information that Osorio wants the refuerzos. That doesn't mean to say they're going to happen. I know the problem that Osorio has had and the FMF have had is between them and the clubs.
The Mexican clubs.
The Mexican clubs aren't allowing the players to go. And the season starting this weekend, I think they feel that, this competition isn't the most serious. It's
still a competition by FIFA standards. And, I mean, this is a club. It looks like they're all intertwined. I mean, the rumor is they're not that happy with Osorio. There's a lot of clubs that, the presidents, the directors are not 100% behind Osorio. I think that might be an issue. Let's not forget there's also not a director. Yes, that's another thing. Sporting director at the moment.
And it's the sporting director who, at the end of the day, would be that principal contact between Osorio and Osorio communicating the message, and then him or her going to the clubs and negotiating.
Yeah.
And at the minute, there isn't anybody doing that with Mexico, and I think that is potentially problematic. But if you look at the list of players, you've got Nestor Araujo. Obviously, he was in the Confederations Cup, but he was injured for at least the first part.
Yeah, when I look at the list this morning, Nestor Araujo, maybe a Rafa Marquez to bring him in.
Yeah,
there wasn't like a huge list of, we need to have this guy here.
There's Nestor Araujo, Rafa Marquez, Torres Nilo, Gael Sandoval.
I was actually surprised Torres Nilo was not in the Confederation.
Jürgen Damm. I mean, and Oribe Peralta. I mean, if you take any of those players, I'd take Oribe Peralta straight away. Mm-hmm. Because he's someone who, against these kind of defenses, against Honduras, he'll get you goals.
He always comes up in the big games. I mean, we know Oribe Peralta can take and can score.
I'd like to see Rafa. Rafa for me, just because he comes in, he's the leader, he's the captain.
Plays against the U.S. in the final, scores one more time.
Yeah. And
can't get rid of him.
With the young players, I think he's a really good influence. Mm-hmm. And I think instantly the atmosphere in the squad will be like, Rafa's here. We mean business now. Because he has got that kind of influence within the squad. And it's definitely. They look up to him. There's no doubt about it, because there's so few players.
Rafa still hasn't lost a game with Osorio. I don't believe. No. And anytime Rafa has been fielded, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, but let's not forget. I don't know how hard can it be with these clubs when they're basically they're going to miss one game. This weekend's game, and the latest they're going to be back is next Thursday. So if you look at it, if they come to Phoenix tonight, tomorrow, arrive Tuesday, get ready for the game on Thursday, another game on Sunday, another game on Wednesday. I mean, you can see why clubs wouldn't want the players to go, but at the same time, it is only one game, and there's a chance at a trophy as well.
Well, this is where I kind of asked you before when we were kind of prepping for the show is that lack of preparation on the FMF part on Mexico. We've seen this before where they don't plan, or for whatever reason, if it's logistics or looking for players. I mean, they had to have this conversation. It's been in the calendar for a year now, and to say, hey, the league is a little earlier this year. We might be playing if we're in the Gold Cup and we're in the finals. This is what's going to happen. And we already have some players that are going to miss anyways. It's not like these 5 players that are going to come up in the next few weeks are the only Liga MX players. Everyone is losing on this because look at Chivas. We're looking at teams that are going to not have players anyways. What's another 4 or 5 players?
I think the problem is that the ones that have been in the Confederations Cup. I don't think the problem is the league ones that I think that they would be available. So Damm, Peralta, Araujo, Rafa.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that you want, though.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the ones that want, and those are the ones that are going to be difficult to get. We've got a question, Soccer Nerds. Do you think Osorio is making himself look like a genius by making so many decisions, switches, tweaks, wildcard player calls, etc., instead of just calling the best in all positions?
No. I mean, it's like Osorio's PR team is horrible. Regardless if he is a genius, that we won't know. Mexico wins the World Cup next year, we'll be like, this guy was a genius. But unless the results are there or in the way that we're losing, Osorio's stock has fallen hard. And it's part of the problem, right? We weren't criticizing because the results are there. When the results don't come, here comes the criticism, at least on my part. I'm going to stay quiet when it's not there. But once it happens, here's what I believe. The rotaciones aren't working, whatever it is. I feel for this tournament, and I think this is where Tom and I disagree. Tom is like this. He's saying that this doesn't matter for Osorio. If he loses this tournament, it's not that big of a deal for him. If ultimately for the fans and for all of us, we want to make sure we win this tournament to have a ticket to the Confederations Cup. But when it all said and done, this is all for 2018. And I think that's where many people.
Yeah, not even 2018, 2022.
You think going forward?
Yeah, 100%. Because you get so few.
Osorio.
You get. It might not be Osorio, and Osorio said a few times like one of the things he wants to do is build something moving forward as well. Because a lot of these players aren't going to. Eric Gutierrez to me is not going to play at the World Cup next year. Like he can have a great season with Pachuca, he can move to Europe. I doubt he's going to play.
But Tom, is he really going to have that much time to mold Eric Gutierrez, the player that he wants him to be, in the scheme that he wants him to play? They don't have that much time with Osorio.
No, it's about balancing the generations as well and giving them. I mean, if Mexico had got the first team now, Eric Gutierrez wouldn't be here. No. He'd be back at Pachuca doing the same old thing. Eric Gutierrez, Pizarro, they're getting the experience of being with the national team, traveling around, seeing the fans, playing in front of 50,000 people. Playing against CONCACAF nations who make it ugly. I mean, Jamaica played such an ugly brand of football. The only way you get used to that is by playing them. Mm-hmm. And okay, it was a 0-0 draw, but at the end of the day, there's no damage done.
Well, even the senior players still not used to the way Jamaica's going to play.
No,
play Mexico.
But I mean, I think that's the game. And to go back to the question, no, it's Osorio's philosophy. I mean, you can read his book. I mean, this is what he believes in. Obviously. I think the big question is, can it work at a national team level? Because I think at a club team level, you're working with the players every day. You're instilling them with your philosophy. You're convincing them of your idea.
You're on.
And I think at the national team, that is the question. The question is, in a group stage where you've got 3 games in 7 days and you don't have much time beforehand, can you afford to make 9 changes between the first and second game? I mean, for me, that is the question. And obviously Osorio 100% believes that, due to the amount of injuries that happen, because you're playing so many games in such a short period of time, because of the tiredness factor, then it's best to make that rest. But I don't think he's doing it just to make himself look like a genius. I mean, he's studied this. This is a philosophy. And for me, this is my job, but I also love the game. You know what I mean? I love any manager, and I don't care. Any manager who's got a fixed identity style, something they absolutely believe in. That's what I like to see. It doesn't matter if it's completely defensive. Obviously, I prefer attacking football, but
it's funny you said that because it kind of, reminds you of kind of like a Mourinho in Real Madrid, where
it's actually interesting. Mourinho has changed the positions of a lot of players.
Yeah.
And you look at Mourinho, he played 4 centre backs for a time with Chelsea, and people forget that. And Osorio knows that. He's studied Mourinho. You know what I mean? There's absolutely no doubt about it. Chelsea made a really, really big team. As soon as when Mourinho came to England, and he's doing the same with Manchester United now. If you look at the players, he's brought Pogba, he's brought Lukaku, the massive guys. He brought Bailey, Lindelof, the massive guys, and Osorio's trying to instill that within the Mexican team. He obviously feels that traditionally Mexico haven't been able to match other teams physically, and I don't think he's trying to make this big physical team that's going to score 10 goals, every World Cup on set pieces, but he feels that if Mexico are going to advance, then they've got to be more steely,
I just feel like maybe Osorio's trying to do too much with the level of Mexican player, Tom. I mean, if you're looking at what you're saying, and let's say this great philosophy in the rotation, does the average Mexican player, can he really perform at that level? And I think that's where we've fallen against Chile. I think that's where we've fallen against Germany, where that specific, scheme and however it is with the rotations included, the Mexican game is not going to evolve into that, or it's going to take a really long time. And we're not desperate. I mean, we're not a patient nation.
No, definitely.
When it comes to football.
No, and Osorio knows that. He's completely aware of that. And I think that it's actually a great question, because I think one of the issues for Osorio as Mexico manager is he going to have the time? Yeah. And he probably won't have. I mean, if he does, I feel he's the kind of person who can take Mexico to the next level. But, and this is another big question that I have, he depends on certain things.
Oh, yeah.
Osorio being successful with Mexico, or any manager being successful with Mexico, for me, depends on more players playing in Europe. We've seen the level of the Europe.
Well, what is success? Let's stop there. What's success?
Success for me is...
The quinto partido.
No. No.
So getting out of the group stage but playing well and against Italy, what's success for you?
Success for me is Mexico being in the top 10 of the rankings for 2 consecutive years.
But how many teams can do that?
Not many.
Exactly. So I mean that's pretty high on the bar.
That's it. But that if you're in the top 10, top 12, whatever, I'm not just saying that. Yeah. It shows you a top team, and it shows that when you come to the World Cup, when it comes to the Confederations Cup, you've got a good enough team to be qualifying. And I'm not basing all this on the FIFA rankings. I'm saying being the top 10 of the world.
We know Switzerland's not top 10, even though they are.
And then, but for 2 years, minimum 2 years, and be up there, and to prove, Mexico a top 10 team in the world now. And if you can do that, then you're going to be, you're not going to be the favourite for the World Cup. Chile isn't favourite for the next World Cup. Colombia isn't favourite for the World Cup. But with the quality players that Chile and Colombia have, I mean, it wouldn't be completely surprising if they made a semi or a final. You know what I mean? Or even won it. I mean, they've got that quality. Mexico at the minute are a stage behind that. And it's going to take a process and a bit of luck as well. Because at the end of the day, Chile, we can talk about Bielsa, we can talk about implementing the system, Sampaoli, Pizzi. But at the end of the day, the fact that Alexis Sanchez, Vidal, and Claudio Bravo all came up together, Gary Medel, all came up through the same generation is pretty incredible.
Yeah. It's kind of like this.
And Vidal and Alexis Sanchez are just ridiculous. I mean, they turn. You can play bad and they turn the game for you instantly.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting you say that. What's Mexico's success measure if we're looking at the Quinto Partido or being a competitive squad? I don't know, Tom, but we've always seen that Mexico played those big teams. They were competitive.
Yeah.
Mexico versus Argentina in 2006.
Yeah.
We saw Mexico-Holanda in 1998. We saw a good squad in 2002 play against, Italy and played toe-to-toe in those World Cups. I guess we saw with Piojo too against Holland, except for at the end of the game.
No,
we're seeing that but we're seeing that a little differently now with those teams. We're not competing because of these Osorio tactics.
No,
because of these.
But I think definitely. I mean, within like 1 minute of beating Portugal, and then in the first game in the Confederations, Mexico played really well in Kazan.
Mm-hmm.
And I think against Germany, Mexico got beaten because they were naive and they gave two goals up after the first 8 minutes. But I think if you look at the game as a whole, I mean, I know the theory that Germany would have just stepped up a gear, and that's that.
It did show it. It did show it when Fabian scored. It looked like Germany went, "Oh yeah, let me score again."
Yeah. But I mean, Germany are a freak team, even though that's a B squad.
No.
They're absolutely
They did beat the Chile team.
And I think that I don't know. I think Mexico's a good team. I definitely don't think Mexico's gone backwards under Osorio. And I think
we're exactly where we're at. But and I think that's where it comes to question. And I heard this argument. We need to do something different for Mexico to be the team, competitive team, the team that Tom wants them to be. We have a madman scientist, whatever, that's trying to do something different. If we've done the same thing over and the same result keeps happening, we got to change the way it is. People aren't going to like it. If somebody told me right now, all right, we're going to not make it the first, we're not going to pass the group stage of the World Cup, but we're going to get to the semifinals in 2022. I'll take it. But obviously you can't do that. I'll take it. And I think anyone would take it. But again, you need a lot in order to make the semifinals of the World Cup. You need, rankings. You need to go against teams that are not the best. And I mean, seeding is huge. I mean, you have to have a generation play great style to bring up for a very long time to win a World Cup. That's why there hasn't been that many World Cup winners.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a while, and we see why the repeat winners coming in. Yeah. Spain's being the only one that has broken the cycle, and expecting Mexico to do that, well, I get it. I mean, I don't want to put the bar low, but...
Yeah, I don't think it's about winning the World Cup. It's about getting that step up and then staying there.
And then even having the greatest player in the world in your team doesn't, nice. I mean, Argentina is the Cruz Azul of the world right now.
Yeah.
I mean, it's even then, even having Messi, Di Maria, I mean, look at that stacked, Argentinian team, they still cannot win and make their fans happy. I'll take Argentina semifinal. I don't mind. That'll make me happy. And then, I mean, there's always a better team, but interesting to see this Osorio talk. I think.
But just another thing on the Osorio, like talking about the long term. I mean, the 10-8 rule, which is now a 9-9 rule. is very problematic. There aren't enough Mexican players coming up. It's like there's a wide range of players here, and then it's like a funnel, and only a few are dripping through. You know what I mean? So you got a lot playing at kind of under 20, under 17 level, and then they're filtering down, and there's only like a little trickle into first teams, and that's a massive problem because players develop at different ages in different ways. So if you've got players who aren't making a debut till the 22, 23, I mean it's not ideal. And then some of them not making the debut and therefore not getting the experience to step up. And it's a massive irony.
Yeah,
the FMF have put so much money into youth development. I mean, a ridiculous amount of money. They're sending these kids all over the world. Under 15, 17, 20, 19, 21, Olympic team. They're going all around the world. All the major tournaments, Mexico team are there. And then it comes to the league. And a lot of the league clubs have put money into the youth system as well. And it's like you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's like you put all this money into develop your youth, and then your own league, you don't play them. I mean, you just don't make any sense.
Interesting enough about the whole youth thing, because this is something in a different kind of subject, but I don't remember Mexico having, and I don't want to say that they're doing a good job. Obviously, we've seen the Sub-17 championships, Sub-20, getting far on some of those tournaments. But before with Mexico from the 80s and 90s, you didn't have young players in the Mexican team. It wasn't like, does anybody remember a 20-year-old, like Chicharito or Giovanni or Vela or, Hector Moreno, playing in the national league in 2009, 2010, 2011. I mean, looking at 2011 Gold Cup, that's Giovanni at how old?
But I'll tell you what I think the difference is. Those guys were playing in the league. You know what I mean?
They're playing in Europe.
But like beforehand, I'll say, you're saying that before with old Mexican national team,
they were older.
But the younger people, the younger kids, they were playing. And now it's like you've got the older generation, say you've got Chicharito, Raul Jimenez, obviously in Europe. And then it's like you look at what's coming behind in the Liga MX, and it's like, honestly, right now, if you to name a striker who is going to get anywhere near Chicharito in the next 3-4 years.
Yeah. No.
I mean, I know somebody can develop, and youth development isn't an exact science. No way. And I mean, I can name a few: Jairo Torres, Roberto de la Rosa, Juan Jose Macias in Chivas. Three players there under the age of 20 with big talent, and there were talks about a lot in Mexico. But are they going to get their opportunity? No. I mean, that's the big deal. I mean, I imagine Macias in Chivas will, because Chivas like that. De la Rosa in Pachuca probably. But that's 3 players, and you look at the Liga MX now, how many young Mexican strikers are there, and it's worrying. That's the worrying thing. You can talk about Osorio and the rotations and everything, but at the end of the day, if you don't get the raw material, then every manager is going to struggle with the Mexican national team, for me.
The talks of Mexico and how to fix Mexico here at the hour of Osorio, like we like to call it. We've turned into this Mexico team. But interesting talks. I know the chat is going crazy. And it's good to talk about what's in the future.
A couple of questions.
Let's see. Figure out those questions.
I've got one for me here from Jolie. Question for Tom. Would Osorio be the ideal coach for England? He will have a squad where all the players play in Europe. True, but I don't.
Piojo would be the ideal. Would be the ideal coach for England, Jolie.
I don't think the ideal coach, but I think England have to do something as well. I mean, I think the same situation as Mexico. And this is the thing, Jolie. For me, I see similarities with England and Mexico. I think they're not living up to the potential on the world stage.
Well, you guys won a World Cup.
Yeah, but I think the difference is, honestly, between England and Mexico, is that England have produced a lot of elite players over the years, and they've not known how to deal with them. So if you go back to like 2002, 2006, England had some tough. I mean, Beckham, Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard. I mean, Rio Ferdinand, Terry. I mean, it was Ashley Cole. I mean, they had a ridiculous team. A team that, you look back and they're like capable of winning the World Cup. Mexico have not had that. They've not had those elite players.
So what happened in 2002?
2002 was Argentina. Was it Argentina or was it Brazil? I don't know. I can't remember anymore.
No, I'm talking about England in the group stage. They didn't get out, right?
I think they did get out.
Yeah.
I think it was 2002. I think they got beat by Brazil. But yeah, I think England right now could do with somebody like Osorio. I think Big Sam Allardyce would have been quite good as well because he comes from a different philosophy. But this is my theory, Jolie. It's like you got a team that's like quite good. Mexico's a quite good team. It's a good team, plays attractive football. If you're going to try and do something at absolute level, if you put Piojo Herrera in there, I think you'd fail every time once you get to a certain level. I think you're putting yourself a ceiling there. I think employing someone like Osorio is undoubtedly a risk. There is an inherent risk.
I just feel like he could lose badly.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
He could not make the...
Of course, yeah. It's 100% possible, but that's possible with Piojo as well. What I'm saying is, though, it's like you're rolling the dice. You're saying, if we want to do something different, achieve a bit more, I think you got to take a gamble. You know, if you're not just in football, in anything in life, in a company or something, if you're a middle-ranking company, you want to get to the top, at some point you have to take a risk. You know what I mean? And try and get there. And I think that's what Mexico's done with Osorio.
You can just go the other way. He's just not doing the right things, and there's no results. But again,
the results are there.
Where are we? No,
the results are 100% there. I mean, that's the thing, because I mean, obviously the 7-0 wasn't good.
No, that's what once Mexico faces an important game against a big team, they're getting trashed. Which you lost 7-0 and you lost 2-0 and you're still losing. I mean, it's not like Mexico's beating.
Yeah, and then the Germany game wasn't pretty, but then the Portugal I thought they did well in both games, to be honest. So I don't know, but I mean, it is what it is. I don't think there's a big difference between Mexico now and say if you put Tuca Ferretti in charge. I just think, I don't know, you might as well take a risk with somebody who's got like an identity, playing style.
I kind of would like to see Tuca in the national team.
No, it'd be fun, but I mean, I don't know. I'm not.
All right. Well, while Tom searches for more questions, Mexico obviously plays here in Phoenix. Mexico always plays in Phoenix at least once a year. Remember last year it played again. They do pretty well in Phoenix. Mexico has played the U.S., tied them a couple times, and now playing against Honduras, which. A Honduras that is not the same Honduras that we've seen, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Honduras that got that 3-0 win against a squad that fielded a player that played already in another national team, which is also a joke. Let's talk about that game. If there are any questions.
We got a couple of statements. Mexican reformist, I'd rather have a manager trying new tactics than a manager doing the same tactic with no results. You can't expect good results if you do the same thing over and over. Yeah. Tuca is the Cruz Azul of coaches. I feel like in order for his ideas to work, they need to be applied in youth systems at club level. Rodriguez. I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, is that going to happen?
Gio dos Santos is on. Good to see Gio.
Good to see Gio. Hey, congratulations on your brace against Manchester United, scoring 2 goals on Sunday or Saturday. Saturday. Honduras, Tom. As badly as Mexico has played and they have showed, I feel that they have the talent in order to beat this Honduras team.
Should beat Honduras. Yeah, I think things have got to improve because it has been a bit worrying this competition. And I think the worrying thing is that if they give the chances away, like they did against El Salvador and Curacao, especially those 2 games, if they're so open defensively, then a better team will punish. I mean, is Honduras a better team? Probably a little bit, but not.
They're bringing in some 2 players that have played with the national team. I think I was looking at the list and it wasn't like, who are these people?
Yeah,
I think there's a guy that plays in Barcelona B. I think that's coming in.
I think yeah.
As Tom gets to that, but I also think Mexico does better in outside the group stages, where teams they need a result. They're not going to fall back. For example, Jamaica's not going to do what Jamaica did in the group stages now in the knockout stages. You need a win, and they're not going to gamble on that unless they're playing for that tie to go to extra time and go to penalty kicks, which I really doubt it. I think there's going to be a little more openness in the game, and I think that's where Mexico does a little bit better, especially against the teams que se cierran.
I think it can be, for me, it's a battle of philosophies. I think Osorio and
Pinto
hate each other.
I think get along with any of his Colombian counterparts. I think
it's because it's just different. Because he's like really defensive. You know, like makes the game.
I think in Bolillo, there's been like
they hate each other.
They hate each other.
And Bolillo and Osorio were like friends and stuff. And
a generation of coaches from the '90s, man, from Colombia coming out.
Yeah, they're doing well, Colombia. That's another thing with Mexico that I want to see. Beckerman
from Argentina. Yeah. Sorry. Osorio, Pinto, Bolillo. Especially in the World Cup. I think I was looking at Colombian coaches in the last World Cup. But okay, so Honduras, I don't think that there should be a problem in there. Now, if there is, Mexico loses out.
Yeah.
I know, obviously, we know your opinion, keep Osorio going, but there's already talks with clubs. And I think when the clubs start getting involved in these talks of, changing managers, that's when it gets serious. And we haven't seen that. Even I think, I don't know, right after the Confederations Cup, so I think now more than we're starting to see those talks that maybe clubs are not wanting.
Yeah, I think
Almeida.
Yeah, I think that Almeida would be an option. I like Almeida a lot. Again, a really attacking coach. I think he's got a set philosophy. Going back to what I was saying before, he's got a real idea of how he wants to play the game. I think probably a bit early for him right at the minute.
No, definitely.
He's still all right for
you
Chivas.
win one championship and you're part of the national team coaching talk.
No, but aside from the championship, I think you listen to Almeida and you can tell straight away he's a good manager. You watch him work, at the Chivas training, you see him around the training ground, and you just know. It's just like straight away that guy's going to have a really good career, and he'll go to Europe and he'll do really well. You can almost guarantee it because I don't know. You just see him work and it seems pretty obvious. But I think that basically what I think is right now. I don't think things are great with the federation and Osorio. To be honest,
no.
I don't think there's an absolutely brilliant relationship.
Well, there's not a sport director to keep him in check.
No, but I don't think. Osorio's not going to be kept in check. To be honest,
no.
He just concentrates on his football. He likes his football. He likes his training. And he doesn't like people interfering with that. But I get the impression that the federation right now, they've got no appetite to be looking for a new manager. They've got Osorio. They know his rotations. They say that they knew before he came in. I don't think people within the federation necessarily like it. But I don't think there's any appetite before the next World Cup to change. And the thing that will happen is he'll get judged off the World Cup.
Yeah, I think it will be.
If they make the quarterfinal, they give him another contract.
There's no way. Even if Honduras leaves, even if Honduras beats, I don't think Osorio's leaving anytime soon. And after that, it's a qualifiers. We're already almost qualified. We need to get a tie in order for us to be in the World Cup.
And then there's nothing till the World Cup.
There's nothing till the World Cup.
It's like you get
maybe dos Aztecazos. I think Trinidad. No, the games are coming. I don't see Osorio leaving at all.
Yeah. Question for Tom Wiesel. Couple of questions and then turn it off.
Yeah. Makes sense. our light from Tom's pool is turned off over here.
The limousine's waiting outside as well. So, question for Tom Wiesel. When La Volpe was coach, he was allowed to get national team players from Liga MX during the week to train with. Yeah. Why doesn't JCO do that?
Yeah, that happened. It was a lot of people don't remember before the Confederations Cup. Even I think during the times. And when the league would play during the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, La Volpe had some players.
Yeah, I honestly, Jolie, I don't think the Liga MX teams these days, since the separation of the league and the federation, I know it's not as
kind of same entity, but not necessarily.
Yeah, it's not like the Premier League and the Football Association in England, but it's there's no way the teams would let it do it. And also, you got the Copa MX as well, so. I just don't think
they did it before the World Cup. It was like a long camp. So we still have these 30, 45 camps, remember, in past World Cups where Mexico's had that, I think was with Javier Aguirre. And where we saw, but even then, it's going to take more than that.
Yeah.
More questions, guys?
Rodriguez, 69. We need reforms in league and federation structures.
Of course.
Yeah. Eduardo Perez, what position Mayorga play at? He's a left back. Osorio really likes him. I spoke to Mayorga last week. Really, really nice kid.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, I met him and like.
And you start to see these kids like mature, impress. Yeah. Like I don't think and sorry to interrupt you on there, but something that I've noticed in the last maybe 2-3 years, the kids that are coming up, Dam, for example, Chucky, I feel like these guys are like polished.
I think some of them, and I think they're definitely better than they were, but I still think they got work to do. I mean, Eric Gutierrez gave a press conference the other day, and he's actually in mix zone. He's quite good, but in the press conference he was terrible. Like he he said absolutely nothing. You know, he was having a laugh with one of the. I don't know. He just wasn't very. And then I don't know, man. Like the Confederations Cup in Germany, like the German players and the German manager, I don't know. They were just like ultra professional. You know, like properly media trained, switching languages and stuff. And it's like, oh my god, this is a different. It's a different world. Still waiting for the coaches that have won Liga MX title without a stacked team. What about Caixinha, Jolie? I don't think many people would say Santos Laguna under Caixinha was particularly stacked. What's the Gold Cup final? It is the final of the Gold Cup.
What is the Gold Cup final?
Who's better, Chicharito or Jimenez at this point in time, we saw?
That's a good one.
If you have to pick one number 9, who are you picking?
Chicharito. Yeah, I'll still pick Chicharito. He can do something completely. That's a good question. If you had to take
thoughts on the goalkeeper chant? Should it stop?
Yeah, of course. I mean, we've seen our thoughts. It should stop. It's over. It's not funny anymore. And Friends Are Panchovilla's Army are doing a great job. And I'll say they're getting a lot of slack for it. I mean, people are saying, no, we need this for our folklore. I mean, if you need a chant in order for you to have fun at the games, is that really why you're going to the game? I get it. It's not offensive to people, but it's going to cause Mexico some games. And ultimately, you know, it's just, I kind of just want it to go away. It's not going to go away, though.
Mexico, Rodriguez saying, do we deserve to be a top team? Do we deserve to win the World Cup?
Does Chile deserve to be a top team? I mean, I don't think about anything about deserve.
I don't know. I think honestly, I think the Mexico fans deserve some success.
Honestly, you know what? Around the world, people view Mexico as a good team.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And I think we're like, oh, we're never going to win a World Cup. But you have Mexico in the group stage, they're going to be worried. And teams have said that before. It's not like, oh, we have Mexico.
No, you got to
We got to really prepare. It doesn't matter if you're Germany, Holland, anybody. You have Mexico in the group stage. We're known as a good team, and we can surprise you. We're not going to be this, easy team.
But this is my counter to that. I think in the group stage, probably don't want Mexico. But in the knockout rounds,
no, true.
I don't think.
Well, you're going to face.
Depends who you are.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a big team, you're not going to want to face another big team. You'll take Mexico every time.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at Costa Rica, look at Greece. I mean, the teams that made it, look at Belgium. If you have to say on where are we on par, and to end this Mexican soccer show, Tom, around the world, where are we at? You have the Argentinas, you have your Germanys, your France, your Italys, your Brazils. Then there's like the next spot. Are we close to that? I mean, are we the Portugals?
No.
Are we the Ecuadors?
Yeah.
I feel like we're better than Ecuador.
I feel like we're better than... probably better. Probably around the same, I'd say. Got quite a lot of good players.
So, yeah, Portugal is the Chiles.
Portugal, I think, are ahead.
The Belgiums?
The Belgiums ahead. Yeah, I think Belgium got some...
Obviously, you got Spain's.
Top players.
But then you got the Croatias, the Polands.
Croatia, I think, probably a bit better than Mexico.
Dang,
right now.
Tom, where are we at?
No, I think I'm looking at FIFA rankings.
We're exactly 15th.
I mean, 16th. I mean, Uruguay 17th.
Well, yeah, but Uruguay is.
Iceland 19. I mean, obviously,
then you got Iceland at 19 and Sweden and all those. But I mean, we're Mexico 11.
Yeah, Mexico.
There's 10 teams better than
16. I mean, if you play against Colombia, you'd say Colombia are going to beat Mexico. France would beat Mexico. I'm not saying every occasion.
No. But I just feel like
if Mexico played Peru, then I think. I feel Peru ranked 14.
I think Mexico can beat Colombia, can beat in Ecuador.
No, definitely can do. I think Colombia's a different. Colombia are a top team. I mean, with absolutely quality players.
Just the quality of players that are coming through those teams.
So yeah, I mean, I think Mexico are in the chasing pack basically.
The Switzerlands.
The Switzerlands. I think Switzerland are a really good side. Like they don't have the big name, but they're a really, really good team. with a lot of good young players. And I think that, I don't know, just because they've not got a big name doesn't mean the same with like Poland as well. I mean, they've got.
And I think maybe that's what they look at. They're like, well, Mexico doesn't have a big name.
Right. Anyways.
All right, guys. Interesting, a little different today on the Mexican Soccer Show. Jason is in Curacao. Just FYI, I'll let everybody know he's vacationing. He went over there.
Love the style of play.
He's like,
so
you know
much.
what? I love how they're playing. I'm flying the next day to Curacao. Cesar and Naiv's got. They were busy with some stories. I'm sure they're gonna come out. So thank you to Amy who is fast tweeting over there and helping us out. But thank you to all on the chat, all the questions. If we didn't get to them, we'll try to at least answer them on our Twitter or at least tag us. But always have fun here. Went a little bit on a tangent on how to fix Mexican football. I mean, it was a good talk and a little different when we're not online. But definitely thank you for sharing them. Follow, obviously, Tom on Facebook. Does a lot of great videos on his own Facebook. So if you're following him on Twitter and you have Facebook, go hit like on Tom Marshall. Is it just Tom Marshall, Mexico World Cup, or
tom.marshall.mex?
All right, there you go. And everything that's happened with FootMex Nation on my side, lots of articles and lots of things coming up. Quick prediction.
No, I think Mexico will get the job done. I think Mexico are going to reach the final, and I really, you know what? I said in the Confederation Cup I wanted Mexico, Chile, and what I really want now is Mexico, United States, especially now,
final.
Especially not just for the rivalry, just special like they've got Howard in there, they've got Dempsey, they've got Bradley.
Yeah, we need to talk about that.
I'd love to see this young Mexico team go up against them and take the game to him. And like, I don't know, it's almost like for the first time in years, probably apart from the Columbus game, the US would be favorite. Mm-hmm. And I think that'd be, I don't know.
I meant when Mexico plays, when Mexico is the underdog against the US, they do well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it'd be, I don't know, I'd just love to see, Pineda and Pizarro and those kids go up against, Bradley and see, because we've seen Bradley against the, Herrera and Guardado so many times. Like, let's see what the next generation have.
Well, remember maybe the U.S. has a bone to pick in that 2009 Gold Cup where Mexico won 5-0 in the final. I'll be honest, I don't think Mexico wins this Gold Cup, and hopefully they play a good game. I think they make the finals. I'll be really surprised if they don't beat Honduras, but I think they'll play against Jamaica, and they'll beat Jamaica, and they'll go to the finals and play in Santa Clara there on Wednesday. I think they'll lose, regardless if it's Panama or well, maybe not Panama, but Costa Rica or the U.S. I think, which is good. It makes it interesting for the next Gold Cup, and then Mexico will bring it. They have to win that Gold Cup and then go to the Confederations Cup before Qatar. So lots and lots of tournaments. There's no stopping until 2023 at least. Where we're at that. But all right, guys, we went a little over time. This was only supposed to be a 30-minute show, but we kept talking about Mexico. Keep it here with the Mexican Soccer Show. We'll try to do a Liga MX because I know it's coming up on Friday already with everything that's happening with the Gold Cup. Liga MX is already here, and there's a lot of previews that are happening on all the English sites here that we all work with. We'll have some videos with Mexican Soccer Show that they'll preview with the FootMex Nation. We have Tom Harrison's great previews that are coming in. I'm sure on ESPN FC we have Naive working on Liga MX, and also it's Cesar and Tom. So lots of stuff coming up. Don't say that there's not enough English content because we're changing that. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful night. Tweet us your questions. And again, don't forget to subscribe and follow us on all of our platforms. Hasta la próxima, Tom.
Nos vemos.
I gotta reach all the way over here to stop it because we don't have a producer.